Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Azamuddin bin Zamani. Matric number 1185552. Inshallah. Today our group will present to you all about the rural internet issues under topic network fundamentals. So today our presentation will be in 7 parts. Introduction, why we choose this issue, objective, findings in the issues, insight about the issues, suggestion, and lastly, conclusion. Okay, introduction. Digital divide refers to the unequal opportunities to access information and communication technology (ICT) facilities between urban and rural areas. When we speak about the digital, I think internet is definitely one of the words that passing through our mind. Internet, as we know, is the world universal language of communication, information, and entertainment, and is considered as one of the crucial things to have today. Second, internet has surpassed its own limited role as mere information source. In this current era, most likely everything is internet-based, including business and education. From ordering foods to open meetings, internet has proved to be useful at the fullest to us nowadays. However, not everyone can suit with the ongoing flow of advancement. Next, we can see the infrastructural gap through several circumstances, including the differences of internet speed in different regions. People in the city centers often enjoy significantly faster internet compared to those living in less developed areas. For example, in Kuala Lumpur, people are enjoying high-speed internet up to 800 megabytes per second. At the same time, in Sarawak, speed is much slower, with some areas in the state do not have any access to the internet service. Okay, let's move to the next part, which is why we choose this issue. First, to know that importance of accessing the internet nowadays. As we all know, recently, we are all affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. So, we now are more focused to online approaches that drove us to the internet usage. This is in line with the slogan, work from home. Students, on the other hand, are also affected by this pandemic. Almost all ages, from primary school to university students, need to have a good internet connection, either in rural areas or in the city. Next, to observe the possibility that can cause the low priority in accessing the network. Maybe we can say because the lack of material access, which means that the difficulty to access the internet due to lack of equipment and services such as computer hardware and networks. Second, maybe we can say also difficult to maintain or add substation in rural areas such as most in Sabah and Sarawak that live in hilly areas and far from the city. Just for your information, did you know that rural areas in Malaysia also suffer from poor internet connection due to death and vandalism? Yes, it's happened. According to Deputy Communication and Multimedia Minister Zaidi Zainul Abidin, one big reason that rural areas in Malaysia suffer from poor internet connection is due to theft and vandalism. Apparently, copper and optic fiber cables are dug and stolen, which is necessary hardware for internet connection. As a result, the rural areas will suddenly lose internet access. Indirectly, we can find out that there are actually efforts to repair and improve the internet connection for rural areas, but all are interrupted due to the personal interest of some parties. And last but not least, we will try to relate it with what we have learned in this subject, precisely in network fundamental topic. So, after all things that I have shared before, I think our objective is very clear, which is first to identify the major cause of rural internet in Malaysia. Secondly, to study the rural internet issues under network fundamental topic. And lastly, to produce idea of suggestion to solve this problem. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Syukri bin Shamsuddin. My matric number is 11A1555. Okay, today I want to talk about some finding on the issues. First is physical barriers. In rural areas, physical barriers and the natural world present increased challenges. For example, what if there is a large hill between your office and a customer farm? In that scenario, it is going to be challenging to maintain a stable line of sight. As a result, your customer may complain about an unreadable internet connection. Hill and mountain are just one example of physical barriers at work. For another example, maybe can be a river, a lake, or a forest. These challenges to robust internet service also change with the seasons. In the autumn, leaf falls, and this may affect power lines and sensitive equipment. Second, increasing demand for telework and telehealth. The demand for internet access and bandwidth is increasing. It is no longer good enough to have occasional email and web access. Modern internet services require much higher bandwidth. In 2020, the explosion of remote work has changed the situation. However, rural areas continue to lack in internet quality. The FCC speed standards, known as 25.3, what that mean? 25 refers to 25 megabytes per second download speed, and 3 refers to 3 megabytes per second upload speed. Without these speeds, participating in video calls, conference platforms, and other modern tools become much less stable or even impossible in some cases. Beyond work requirement, rural areas have limited access to telehealth facilities. Providing health advice online is challenging. Without a high quality video link, this challenge becomes even worse. As more people put remote work and telehealth demand on rural internet service providers, the existing infrastructure is going to face serious problems keeping up. Third, limited company growth and resources. These issues may be more difficult to notice. You are used to running your business, so you might not notice your limitation. For example, your customer might sign up for multiple video streaming service, successfully servicing that level of demand may put a heavy strain on your bandwidth. Small internet service companies in rural areas have historically struggled to build out more infrastructure. They do not have the option to spread out their network costs across millions of customers. Further, some rural internet service providers will not be able to borrow funds from the financial market at low rates like national telecom carriers. Lower investment in improving internet service in rural areas also face other kind of resistance. Next, observation or insight about the finding. Government must address several issues when it comes to design a better action plan to ensure all people and students in a rural area are well taken care of should another pandemic happen in the future. Government to develop a proper action plan for pedagogy during a crisis such as a pandemic outbreak by working closely with managed technology providers to ease the impact of school closure on education. Increase penetration in particularly in rural areas by providing affordable remote satellite for the internet connection. I think that's all from me. Thank you for listening.
Internet access are always considered as one of the biggest problems for people in rural areas. While being poor to non-internet connection all the time, the limited availability of internet broadband access in remote areas contrast with the pervasive ultra-high-speed internet access available in all urban areas. Based on the data derived from our findings, some major factors that hinder conventional of the internet access in this area are network coverage and accessibility. By recognizing the status of network access circumstance on most rural areas and relate it with what we have learned in network fundamental topic in this subject, it is possible to solve these issues. I'm Rifqi, and these are the numbers of suggestions which we believe can help to ensure the solution of this issue. First, man up. Fundamentally, instead of the usage of LAN, local area network, or one wide area network, implementing MAN, metropolitan area network, in rural area is far more suitable. Why we think MAN is the best answer for this issue? Let me show you. The obvious way to see is from the coverage. LAN covers the smallest area such as school and hospital, while WAN covers the largest areas such as country and continent. But MAN instead, it covers the most sufficient range for a city-like size, wider than LAN but not extremely wide like WAN, just perfect for any rural areas. What's more, we can see here LAN is far more easy in design and the maintenance, low in cost, internet speed is subjectively high and less congested, therefore the propagation delay is short. While WAN here is far more complex in the design and maintenance, satellite and all that, too complex. The cost is another thing which is extremely high. Due to its large coverage, the speed is low, least in fault tolerance, often with a busy traffic, and the propagation delay is long. MAN, on the other hand, is moderate in all things, from design to congestion, not too costly, not too complex, better speed and tolerance, definitely the best for rural areas. It's not about how wide it can reach, it's about efficiency, no unnecessary availability for outside of the specified area, providing satisfying and stable network through a fully in-depth remote area without spending too much for the cost. That is man up. Second, no wall can keep us apart. This is how high super duper speed 100% upgraded extraordinary internet wave spread in village A. What a disappointment. As you can see, there is geographical barrier that hinder the wave. Geographical barrier in rural areas such as deep forests or impenetrable walls made the wave unreachable to its certain usual reach. Now let's see what happened if we demolish the barrier first and start again. Yes, it's finally reached village A and they live happily ever after with the internet. To conclude, there is no use of having upgraded best version ultra speed internet service if they will end up being obstructed or being reflected away by these barriers. Therefore, we believe it is the best if you could clear this obstacle out first before implementing any internet service, so that even a low standard network or line shouldn't be impossible to pass the village. Next, we have Go Wireless. Wired broadband is an internal complication for rural internet. There are countless of cases where uneven geographical landscape causing damage physically on the wiring, and there are also theft of the circuit components including Ethernet cable and others. Consider in changing the classic wired broadband into wireless one should be more careful initiative to prevent this case. Why? Here's why. We believe using radio wave frequency would be just the thing. With wireless, they are physically safe from any damage or thief issue. Moreover, with no limited mobility, we can access internet anywhere without to worry of tangling wires below your feet. Based on the table, it's a little bit tricky, but as we can see here that wireless is our recommendation for rural despite all the benefits are siding wired. Here's why. First and foremost, we should know that wired is a direct supply network while wireless is transmitted through air. The amount of latency you experience with wireless network will be inconsistent when compared with wired network. Now, wired is well protected from unaddressed access, while wireless is less secure since the communication signals are transmitted through air. It can easily be intercepted. Wireless network lack the data transmission speed capability of wired networks. The costs, however, are both moderate, inexpensive, which is great thing for rural. Wireless installation is faster and easier compared to wired because it requires less equipment. We don't have to spend the time connecting each device to the network using Ethernet cables like wired. Wireless networks are flexible in terms of mobility to access the network from any location using any type of wireless enabled device. Definitely no hassles with cables like wired. Remember, the main issue of rural internet are theft and physical defects of internet medium. With that being said, wireless is immortal when it comes to physical defects by rural environment. Mobility and installation process is far more important to be concerned. You don't want your village house or your farm to be packed with wires, and you don't want your work as a farmer or fisherman being interrupted by those wires if you want to have a connection. Number 4 is online mall. Accessibility is one of the major problems of the rural. Imagine if we have an ultra-speed internet source in our area, maybe 25.7 Mbps or 44.2 Tbps. Pretty much everything online will be no problem at all. We can download or upload our favorite movies within a minute, yes, no problem at all. But what is the point of having the fastest internet speed in the world when we have no device to connect with? Providing enough internet accessibility such as gadgets and appliance facilities for rural communities is the first step to do. No, must do. Yes, now everybody can enjoy the internet. Extra note here, we should give more awareness about the usage of the internet for rural communities because most of them still don't know about the internet and how benefit it is for them, especially on this modern era. It's not about leaving the tradition behind, but moving forward to the better future while strongly remain the tradition element. They can use internet to spread about their tradition though. Number 5 is the maintenance. We know that proper management and good maintenance are crucial for the best result. It's applied on everything though. Good base, good process, good procedure, good preservation leads to good fruit. For internet, rural internet precisely, this maintenance should be scheduled more often from the service provider. Based on our finding, most of the case in rural area, the responsible party or the service provider just set once in a lifetime kind of maintenance session when they are in the area, and after that it's up to the communities themselves to follow up with the network connection and the management on their village. We believe it shouldn't be that way. Now let's hop to the versus table. This table is about type of maintenance. Yes, it's general, not specifically to internet maintenance. Let's see if we can find the best type of maintenance for rural internet. First, we have reactive maintenance, performed after a malfunction has occurred and then they come to fix it to its normal state. Then we have preventive, which is a scheduled maintenance. Although nothing happened to the asset, they will come to check as scheduled. And the last one is predictive maintenance. In easy word, they will schedule the repair before the undesirable detection occur or before malfunction. Internet source or internet router is a high priority equipment, right? So reactive is definitely out. Although the cost is low, but as you can see, it is unsuitable for high priority equipment like internet. Preventive is scheduled maintenance, which seems more relevant to rural internet, and of course the cost is moderate compared to predictive. A regular maintenance session like twice a month, with or without complaints from the community, are far more lawful as the experts are monitoring the device, not the villagers. Yes, not the village. This is by far most effective way to preserve the internet connection in rural areas. Conclusion, the importance of internet in this particular modern era is crucial. Day by day, the demand of the internet in every aspect just keep on rising. Our education system nowadays is more than enough to prove the needs of these technologies. However, it is unfair for the community living in remote areas to be in similar online learning track as the urbans. They are having huge difficulties and limited internet access. Logically, but to the advancement we achieve, should be impossible for these problems being left unsolved. Yeah, development efforts made in the remote and rural areas are efforts to improve the life of the majority of the people. However, the existed initiative still has not reached its full potential yet, as it faces several challenges. Aside of the economically viable, all these problems require more consideration and more concern from different parties. This is a wake-up call for the responsible parties to look into the issue in their constituencies and find a way to resolve them. Further actions are proposed, taking account for where the wireless service provision would be used as part of the rural community's basic communication and information medium. Nevertheless, we should give our best investing efforts and money for this rural development, especially on this network accessibility. Everything is online today, but nothing is impossible. We hope for a better changes for this issue in the future. Thank you for listening. Thank you.